Imagine your robot starts choking your friends on Christmas Eve. What would you do? Well, what sounds like an awesome Instagram post at 2 AM isn't all that great if your friend ends up in a wheelchair. So, in this video, we follow Georgia and her boyfriend Sam after an android revolution breaks out. They plan to escape the US and find shelter overseas. We will look at the mistakes they make, figure out more efficient ways to solve their problems, and beat the crazy androids in Mother/Android. Georgia is a young girl who just found out that she's pregnant. I can already tell you that she isn't happy about it. Considering that both she and her boyfriend Sam are about to go back to college next week, the timing is pretty bad. But of course, things will get much worse. At this point, however, worrying about an impending pregnancy is not what these college kids are about. I can't blame them, but I wouldn't do the following. It's Christmas Eve and the last week of their holiday. This means they have more important things to do, like attending a home party and escape the pregnancy with a shot of tequila. Well, before she can pull that stupid move, her boyfriend can stop her, which causes her to make a scene and vanishes upstairs. Now, while she vents to her friend about why her life sucks, the phone in her friend's pocket starts to go off with an insanely loud shrieking noise. Then, the electricity goes out. And when the light comes back, the world is in complete chaos. Now they hear screams from below and run back down, only to find Daniel, her fancy butler, choking her friend with the intention to kill. I think we can all agree that engaging in a close combat with a machine that weighs multiple hundred pounds and can feel no pain is a very bad idea. At this point, there are only two options to pick from. You either fight or you escape. But your friends are in danger, so I would hope that you come for help rather than run away. These robots must have a weak spot. The question is, what is it? Truth be told, at this point, if you don't know, then there is no time to look for the right answer. So, brute force is the answer. If you have a gun, fantastic. If not, well, then a baseball bat seems to do the job as well. When Sam is being attacked, his friend comes for aid and smashes the android into oblivion. We find out that the weak spot lies somewhere around the neck/head area. At this point, everyone leaves the house but quickly realizes that the previous incident was not an isolated case. People are freaking out everywhere while androids are walking around smashing boys like Habib. If all of that wasn't enough though, Georgia's friend's phone explodes when she tries to make a call, talking about malfunctions, and you can't point at the Chinese this time. At this point, 9 months have passed, and Georgia and her boyfriend have been on the run ever since Christmas Eve. They're currently camping in the woods and try to get to Boston where they believe to find a military camp. They have heard that this camp ships families over to Asia. Now before we continue, let me point out that hiding in the woods is a great idea, but picking a neon orange tent is ridiculous. If you want to stay out of sight, you may want to pick something more subtle. I don't know, maybe, green. I understand that sometimes there is no time to make the best possible decisions, but neon orange, that's like farting in a doctor's waiting room. It's not a good idea. You will be heard and you will be seen. We can and should assume that these androids perceive vision via infrared. This also means that they can perfectly see during nights. In that case, the best color to pick is white, as it absorbs most infrared waves and therefore doesn't reflect any to be spotted. However, it also means that if you are outside, you will glow like a candle in a dark room. The answer to that is a mirror blanket. This blanket will contain the infrared waves your body emits and lets you blend into the environment perfectly. A must-have while trying to avoid being seen by machines. I would also cover the tent with leaves and other natural items to stay hidden from humans, because as we know, humans are just another problem during the apocalypse. The next morning, the two proceed and eventually get to a military base. They're screened and tested if they're humans and then let in. I'm not entirely sure how this outpost stays secure. The fences aren't very high and not robust enough to survive a swarm of superhuman androids, but it sounds like they have been here for quite some time and nothing has happened. It is true that they have an EMP, but an EMP is a one-time thing only. You activate it and then it happens and then it's over. So once it's used, there is no way to recycle. Which is strange because that means with only 2 waves of attacking androids, this outpost would be done. But anyway, we don't care about this right now because Georgia is 9 months pregnant at this point and already overdue. So the doctor tells her that she can deliver the baby here. They have medical aid, hundreds of soldiers all around. It's just really nice to be here, right? If you ask me, this is the best deal you can get. Period. But Sam doesn't like that, because what he wants is to get to Boston ASAP before the baby arrives. And as Boston is surrounded by thousands of deadly androids, they need to get through quietly. Which doesn't work if you carry a crying baby. Well, so far so good. I can understand this reasoning. But what if the baby comes midway through? It's not like giving birth is more chill than a hungry baby crying. And as far as I know, you don't have a decision power over when it comes versus when not. It just happens. So clearly staying in this base is the best solution they have. During the evening, both get into a fight about this. So Sam leaves the tent and goes to negotiate a safe ride to Boston with a few shirtless soldiers celebrating the discovery of fire. Now, first of all, if there are no military deliveries being made to Boston anyway, then this request is very, very narcissistic. Because why should anyone risk their lives so that you can have a better one? This is the apocalypse and pretty much everyone is in trouble. But even if there is a delivery scheduled and they will go to Boston anyway, does it even matter then whether the baby is here or not? No, because at this point you are in a truck guarded by armed men. In my book, the baby can cry as much as it wants in there. So their reasoning really doesn't make any sense. But that's not even the worst thing. The worst thing is that Sam enters a fight with a soldier that promises him to bring them to Boston in case he wins. Well, fast forward to tomorrow and Sam is chained up and he and his girlfriend are both expelled from the base. It is really difficult to screw things up when all is lost already. But some people are really, really talented. Well, they have to continue their journey together and very quickly find an abandoned house on a field nearby, luckily. Sam scouts it out and finds that it's empty. They both stay in here and finally can get some rest. But before she can give birth to the baby, Sam comes up with another genius idea. Before we get to that, let me explain how this complete android invasion can be stopped. Now, all of this happens primarily in the US, the land that consistently drops over $500 billion on the military. Now, there is no way that this government doesn't have the means to end this strategy. You see, an atomic bomb always comes with an EMP, an electromagnetic pulse, which short circuits every electronic device in a given area. Now, I don't suggest dropping such bomb onto the country, as this would cause more harm than not. That's not the goal. But I want to point out a paper by the Washington State Department of Health, which says the following. A 1.4 megaton bomb launched 250 miles above Kansas, a state that is very centric in the US, would destroy most unprotected electronics in the entire continental United States. This is pretty sick, guys. And it implies two things. First, that there are forces that can end this whole mess within an instant. And secondly, it also means that we already have the technology to pull that off. Of course, it requires a large EMP launch at the right spot, but the physics and calculations obviously exist. So, cheers. After a few days of rest, Sam finds a dirt bike, and this is his new plan. The plan is to ride through a muddy forest void of any artificial noise with a noisy motocross and a 9 months pregnant girl in the backseat. That's the plan. How in God's name is this a good idea? I don't see it. Do you see it? Leave a comment if you do. Please enlighten me. Look, just a few days ago, he was worried about traveling with a crying baby, and now he seems to be okay using a dirt bike to get through. How does this make sense? If I were Georgia, I would insist on finding the nearest outpost and stay there to give birth without having my boyfriend causing a scene again. At some point, you just gotta draw a line, because this guy does not make any good decisions. You see, a dirt bike is not just loud, but also unstable. Plus, the territory is a wet, uneven forest. What sounds like a fun adventure isn't all that fun the moment you realize you have an overdue girlfriend on the backseat, my friends. I mean, really, at this point, the best option is to find a hideout where you can be safe for the birth and then recover from it. And then plan ahead. But our characters don't do that, no. What they do is this. Okay, I've already outlined why this is a bad idea. But if you do pull that move, how about you drive appropriately? This guy drives like a Czech millionaire on a German highway. Jesus. It doesn't take long until they take a break at a small lake. which is also not a good idea. Unless you're driving through an area where you can actually see everything around you, I don't think you should get off this bike. If you get attacked in a forest, this will be a rough escape. And that is exactly what happens. The couple is spotted and have to flee immediately. They hop onto the bike and drive off. At first, there was only one android chasing, but now it's a whole group. And if that wasn't enough already, there are now drones joining as well. Happy 2030, friends. Happy 2030. At this point, you are... And here's the proof. Sam comes up with a brilliant idea to drop off his girlfriend in the middle of the forest. He tells her that he will meet her at the river, but lures the androids away in the meantime. She hides herself behind a massive boulder, but is almost seen by an android on top of it. That is, until she's rescued by Arthur, a strange guy wearing a ghillie suit and sort of moves like a robot. Oops. Well, he offers his help and escorts her to his hideout. Now, once they arrive, multiple things happen. First, his name is Arthur, like mentioned, and he has worked as an AI programmer for a big tech company prior to the Blitz. Now, the Blitz refers to the night where the androids took over the world. He claims that he has found a way to stay hidden using this special ghillie suit that he has developed. It's a mixture of wires and mirror components to jam an android's vision so that you can practically stay invisible. However, they can still hear and smell you. Now, Georgia is a bit creeped out, and well, fair enough. Following a stranger isn't a good idea, especially post-apocalypse, but it's not like she had a choice, right? Now, they chat for a while until he shows interest in her baby. He comes closer, drops onto his knees, and listens to the heartbeat of the baby. Now, what seems to be a very sweet gesture starts to become a little bit creepy once he starts weeping and babbling something about they're all dead. Okay? Well, I think it's time to leave at this point, dude. I don't know. I feel less safe in here than out there. But he offers her to bring her to Boston safely so that she and her baby can be safe, at least. But she declines. Georgia insists on rescuing Sam. But Arthur thinks that this is pure suicide. And of course, he is right? Under normal circumstances at least. But with the ghillie suit that he has developed, this changes, and he gives it to her. He escorts her to the location where the androids hold humans captive, including Sam, and tells her that she will find him in here. Well, saving a friend in a house full of superhuman machines that will kill you with a snap of a finger, plus you're 9 months pregnant with a baby that wants to break free any moment now, is not something a survival guide would recommend. But pregnant women are stubborn, and so Georgia moves forward and slowly approaches the house. The best possible thing right now is the fact that it's raining. Not only is rain very loud and overshadows the noise you make, but it also sweeps away your smell. If there was a timing to rescue Sam, there is no doubt it is right now. Now, Georgia enters the house, and sure enough, no robot can see her. She escapes a confrontation multiple times with pure luck. Now, even though the rain helps cancelling out the noise, I would have used fabric to twist around my shoes to stay even more silent. Now, she hasn't done that, but nevertheless can find Sam without being noticed. However, his leg is completely crushed. Now, good luck escaping with a foot that hangs on a single string of nerves. I don't think that's possible, but this is Hollywood. So she can release him, approach the main entrance, but they can't stay hidden any longer. They're almost killed until Arthur comes for help. So Arthur rushes in and shoots down the hailing androids with his solid shotgun. Great job. All of them escape, and Georgia passes out. At this point, she wakes up in a blissful room of sophisticated medical technology, with her baby having already been born and Sam's leg treated in the best possible way. It's almost as if both get a happy ending, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Now, even though this movie has its massive flaws, the upcoming plot twist had me by surprise. And I can't lie, it's a pretty good one. It's one of the best I've seen in recent times. So, both recover for a few days until Georgia is questioned by a soldier. And this is where it begins. Now, he asks her what exactly happened. Now, she mentions the torture house of the androids, Arthur who has rescued her, and the ghillie suit developed by him to stay hidden. At this point, the soldier looks at her as if she's tripping and says, "There is no such technology." To which she replies, "Look, if there wasn't, then why would I tell you any of that?" Now this triggers a cascade of memories in Georgia. At this point, she remembers everything Arthur has ever told her. She goes through every single detail until she shockingly realizes that she has made a mistake. It turns out that Arthur is in fact an android and has planned every single detail after meeting Georgia to reach his goal, which was to enter this military base here in Boston. So what he did was he communicated with the androids guarding the house and convinced them to pretend like they don't see her, to make her believe the ghillie suit works. He has also listened to the baby's heartbeat and started crying to emotionally prove that he appears to be a human. All of that only to get into this military base and deactivate the EMP system so that the next android wave can overrun it and win this war. Talking about genius. Now Georgia, knowing that they will go for the EMP, rolls over, faces off Arthur in an epic but short showdown, places a few bullets neatly inside of his metal head, and can activate the EMP just before being overrun by a horde of androids. Talking about women power, huh? Hell yeah, baby. At this point, the war is still ongoing, but the end of humanity could be avoided. The last task right now is to get to the pier and finally escape this godforsaken place and make it to Korea to feast on kimchi and fried chicken. But, as it turns out, they only take in the baby and not the parents. The reasoning for that is that a baby requires less work than 2 adults, which is absolutely ridiculous and couldn't be further from the truth. A baby needs 24/7 attendance, while adults can be put to work for 12 hours a day. Let me ask you, right now, was this trip worth it? Yes or no? What do you think? In my opinion, no, absolutely not. Not only did their plan kill dozens of people, but Sam has also lost his legs, which means he will probably die anytime soon, and Georgia also loses her baby, which she just gave birth to. If they had stayed at the very first outpost, they could have lived a happier, less stressful life for a longer period of time than this awful and pointless journey that they have endured. Well, I'm excited to hear your take on this, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, click the like button to support me, I would appreciate it. With that, take care, see you again soon, binge another one, and peace out.